the spiritual path, many people break down that search in different ways about what attainment is, what Nirvana is, what Dharma is. But the fourth Guru, he gives a very complete definition, and so does the fifth Guru. The fifth Guru says there is no religion but meditation and prayer and good deeds. That's the only religion there is. You can call it whatever name you want. And I like that definition. And then the fourth Guru talks about the search on the spiritual path. And so the first part of the search is looking for the truth. And so you look for the truth, and if you're lucky, you find a teaching, you find a guru, you find a teacher, and if you get immersed in a good way, the dharma, the right way, you start cultivating it. And if you cultivate it and you attain goodness, good things will come to you because you're earning good karma. It's still karma, it's still an energy. And there's only so much good you can get. You can start getting suffocated in goodness. This is the story of the Buddha. He's born in opulence. He's born as a prince. He's going to be the next king. And then what happens? He goes outside of the palace and he sees death, decay, destruction, disease, old age, which he's been shielded from his whole life. And so his spiritual path, he didn't even have the first stage and the second stage. His awakening was straight onto the third stage, which is called Vairagya, or the sadness from the material reality. Realizing the material reality is very limited. It can never give us contentment. It will never give us peace because it's always in flux. Like once upon a time we were children, and then in a flash we were teenagers, then in a flash we were adults, in a flash we reach old age, and in a flash we'll be dead. And when you realize that it's just happening in flashes, you get vairagya, you get that detachment from the physical, and even your physical relationships, your children, your mother, your father, your brothers and sisters, you realize it's all temporary. So the Buddha, his beginning was that he already had the first state and the second state because he was a guru. He already had a lot of Buddha Chitta, he already had a lot of consciousness. So Vairag is the third state. And what do you reach? When you reach Nirvana, the fourth state, it's not some big miracle, it's called equanimity. Complete balance, complete harmony. And there's a Zen koan, before attainment I was cutting wood, after attainment I was cutting wood. It's a famous one. It's not you're going to be doing, you might reach this epiphany, it's not you're going to, suddenly your life is going to be completely different. You're going to be doing everything you did before, but just with a different state of consciousness, with a different state of awareness. So if you're lucky and you meet masters and you go to like some ashrams in India and you meet very spiritual people, you'll see them cooking, you'll see them cleaning, you'll see them giving teachings, you will see them doing very, very simple things. And they take a lot of pride in doing those things. Nowadays, it's more like the Instagram babajis or the Instagram famous people, and everybody kind of follows that, but it's very far away from really attainment. It's more like a cult, where somebody's on the top and they have followers and they get all the benefits of the following. That's not attainment. That's a waste of time. That's more Maya. And a story about that, which is a useful story, at the time of the Sikh Guru, Sikhs are warriors, so we hunt and we do other things, and you have some Sikhs who are vegetarian, you have others not. There's lots of in-betweens in all religious and spiritual traditions. But the Sikh Guru, he was a warrior, he was a hunter, and one day he was on the hunt and he was hunting a wild boar, and it was one big, massive wild boar, and if you ever seen wild boar, they can grow huge. They can grow massive, they're impressive how big they can get. You'll get scared seeing one near you. That's how big they can get. So there was one very big wild boar, and the Guru was hunting it, and it kept running, and his horse started sweating, And then the Guru called for his next horse, got off, climbed onto the next horse, he's still going after it, he's still running and running through the forest, and all the Sikhs are following the Guru, and he's following the wild boar, and he's not giving up. And the Sikhs are thinking, what's wrong with the Guru? Why is he pursuing this big boar? Why doesn't he just let it go? He's like, he's had his chance, he should just leave it. But the Guru kept pursuing it, and in the end the Guru shot it with an arrow and killed it. And some of the Sikhs were wise, they knew the Guru's enlightened, this is for a reason. And they said, Guruji, you chased this boar for such a long time, you would never normally do that, you would let the animal have a chance to get away if it's meant to get away. But this one, you kept pursuing it. Why have you pursued it? The Guru said, get me one of the hunting knives. So they get the knife, the Guru gets down, and he cut the boar open, and the boar was full of maggots. And the maggots were eating it. And then they looked at this and they thought, oh, that's really kind that the Guru did this, because he's put this boar out of his misery, out of this pain of being eaten. And the Guru understood what they were thinking. He said, no. He said, this was a Sikh from the time of Guru Nanak. And he had a massive following, and each one of those maggots is one of his followers. And he's eating him in this life, because that's how he ate them. That's how he took from them. And so we have to be careful of these type of things, or wanting to attain that type of thing either. That's no attainment. Attainment is if you're in peace, you're in contentment, you're in humility, you feel good with yourself, you feel good with others, you have a frictionless existence, and you haven't got existential angst. This is much better. And so that equanimity, that balance of mind, that peace, what we call in the Sikh tradition is sage, equanimity, harmony. Having harmony in your life, oh, this is such an important thing. When you have harmony, you cannot describe it, but when you lose it, you know you're not in it. And you can get harmony if you go to a forest, you meditate, you help some people, you can kind of cultivate it. But when you lose it, you know you've lost it. And then you've got to fight your way back into harmony, because then everything is friction. Driving is friction, getting up is friction, washing is friction. Even breathing can become friction for somebody who lacks harmony. Even just taking a breath is painful for them. It's a harmony, or very rare commodity in the universe. Everything is functioning off it. And where harmony goes down, everything starts to break down. The health, the mind, the spirit. And so we must cultivate harmony. And how? By detachment. Taking time outside of our materialistic lives and comforts, and taking a bit of discomfort, like a cold shower to remember the cold, shivering a little bit, getting some sun, doing some physical work, getting in the garden, doing some gardening, making a job for yourself to do, so you're not just sitting there in front of a box taking in all the rubbish that it feeds you all day long, and all the bad news on the news all the time, the bad news, bad news, bad news. Doing positive things, making harmony. And so harmony is very important. It's the end of spiritual cultivation. And there's one other interesting story. So Guru Nanak, when he's meditating in his youth, he manages to go into some very deep states. And in India, if you know a bit about Siddha yoga and kind of Kundalini yoga, they talk about the Siddhs, and Siddhs are like Arturians, they're huge spirits, they're like yogis, and they have a power that they can make their body become energy, or the sky, like the blue energy, and become immaterial and come back to the physical body. And so becoming a Siddha in India was considered a massive attainment. And Guru Nanak, in his just devotional practice, even without doing all their methods of purification, he ends up in the realm of Siddhas, in this astral, akashic kind of sphere. And they say to Guru Nanak, boy, how have you got here? And he said, I've got here through Shabad, through mantra, and I've got here through my consciousness and devotion. And they basically ask him so many questions, and this is in a sutra called Siddha Gosht, means the conversation with the Siddhas. And in the end, Guru Nanak just asked them one question. He says, may I ask you a question now? And they say, of course, boy, you may ask a question. And he says, you know, when you attain nirvana, or you attain this epiphany, or this highest kind of spirituality or nirvana, what are you going to do? And they said, well, we'll go back to the world and we'll help people. And Guru Nanak, as a young boy, says, why don't you just do that now? What are you waiting for? Like, what's the point of you attaining this massive thing? You better just help someone now. It's easier. So sometimes spirituality is like a dog chasing his tail. It's just to no end. It has no purpose, and it can just be a vain self-aggrandizement, and we have to be very careful of that. And the Buddha says something very, very useful. What is your intention? Before you meditate, why am I meditating? Am I meditating because I'm agitated? Am I meditating because I'm annoyed with life? Am I meditating because I'm suffering from grief? Am I meditating because my partner's doing my head in? Am I meditating because I want to escape? You have to ask yourself these questions. Otherwise, your meditation is the wrong type of meditation. Am I meditating because I want to be a superstar? Am I meditating because I want Maya, materialism? So intention is very important to get the right intention. And if your meditation is about compassion, helping others, being useful, service, then that's the right form of meditation. Even if it's about improving yourself, even that's the right form of meditation. Even if it's about connecting with your shadow self and your pain body and fixing all that, that's the right type of meditation. But if it's like attaining powers and hocus pocus and I don't know, like there's so much stuff online, right? This is a waste of time. There might be something in it for a few days or a few months, but once it starts to, the novelty wears off, you're going to feel hollow and empty again. And so this hollow, empty space, we all know inside that we're not going to be here forever. We don't have to have anybody to tell us. Even young children realize that. And that feeling we have inside, we have to find eternity within ourselves. And we have to live in that and change our consciousness around that. And I don't know, like nirvana is a big, like loaded word. I'd say nirvana is just ultimate mental maturity. It's like the seed, you know, you plant a rose and then it becomes like a plant, it grows a bit bigger, then it eventually, the finality is it blossoms. That's all nirvana is your brain, your system, your whole body has now blossomed forth. It's not some massive kind of like thing, really. It's a very natural process. But we've made it something unattainable, something that some special being did once upon a time. But I don't think it means that. I think it means something more innate to our human life. And so you have to strive towards peace. And detachment is the key. And again, the Buddha says all pain is attachment. So we suffer grief. What's the grief about? This certain person who we loved and we were attached to has now gone. And we're attached to that sentiment we had with that person, but now we can't hold them, we can't hug them, we can't talk to them, we can't connect with them, and it feels awful because we want it to be tangible. And now we're left with some memories, and then when we think of them, it's even painful. But what's causing the pain? It's that connection, it's that attachment. Once we let go of that attachment, then you can even think of it, oh yeah, they used to say that was really funny, or that was really good, and there's a kind of a lighter way of seeing that situation. And so attachment is the root of dukkha. And so attachment is a very dangerous thing. And we're in a society where we look at relationships as the more attachment, the more romantic, the more intertwined we feel they're better. Well, I don't know about that. I think that's heading for big, big problems. And codependency, there's a lot of psychological words for it, avoidant dependency and this and that. I've lost count. I can't keep up with it all. There's a new definition every other week. But the thing is, attachment, this is the key to look at within yourself. What am I attached to? And how much am I attached to it? And it doesn't mean we've failed. We all get attached to something or another. It's the human condition, but we have to have that mindfulness, that self-awareness. And then if we do that slowly every day, that's really meditation. That's really what meditation should be. That's the format, is self-reflection. The format isn't some kind of sutras you're reading like a parrot again and again and again. and you think that you're going to get some kind of clearance. You could do if you concentrate, but it's more about self-reflection. What is my mind doing? And one thing I think is a great thing is journaling, writing things down. And if you're really honest about your journaling, you'll find out what you ruminate about. And what you think about over and over again, that's going to tell you a lot about yourself. If you're honest, what do I think about most? Is it about my children? Is it about my partner? Is it about my work? Is it about myself? Is it about some loss, some grief? Is it about I'm anxious about something? Is it about the future? If you really start looking at that every day, that's really meditating. That's really taking care of your inner world. And so if the more you do that, the more you reach equanimity. And the world really needs people with equanimity right now. There's just not enough of us doing that, making that harmony and having that balance. People are going off on polarities. There's so much division. It's just getting further and further apart. So we must embrace peace and harmony and do the inner work, the real inner work. And there's so much that we gain on a personal level by doing that. There's so much we gain in our family, in our community, in our nation if we do that. And that's really our message. It's like, face yourself, have a look. Don't be afraid. Don't hate yourself. We all make mistakes. But really go through that journey. That's the spiritual. You can bow to Buddha, Guru Nanak, Krishna all day long. And that's great. And yeah, that's 50% of the story. But the other side is you're going to look at what you are. That's what religion avoids. This is the painful part. But that's really, we've got to be, we're in 2024, we need to drop all the kind of myths and all the dogma and really just get to the point. And like, what are we trying to do through mantra? What are we trying to do through ayahuasca, boga, through San Pedro, psilocybin, all these, the medicine traditions? Are we trying to have visions? What are we trying to see? Best thing to see is ourselves. We're too busy. Our senses are outward nowadays. We need to control them and go inward and really clean up our own universe at least. And so that's our message, and I hope we haven't offended anyone.
Yeah. As Cam shared, we hope we didn't offend anyone. We are very grateful to be here in Leeds. Thank you, Kim and Dean, for welcoming us and making this possible. And we will close with one prayer. As Cam started in the beginning, he spoke about the mother, Bhavani, Mata Chandika, the primeval mother before time. We will do a closing prayer, which is 32 names of the Divine Mother, 32 names of the Goddess. एक ओंकार श्री वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह ब्रह्म कवच। सवीर फतेह पाओ मैदान में पकड़ा शमशीर घोड़ा जाविद नाम उचार विद पुनः करे प्रयोग 5 सवा लख हवन कर जीत जंगता भोग जाविद नाम उचार विद पुनः करे प्रयोग 5 सवा लख हवन कर जीत जंगता भोग वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह।